What's going on, everyone? So, big question this offseason, I imagine, is where Zion Williamson is going to end up, right? Obviously, there's still a chance he stays with the Pelicans. Joe Dumars wants to kind of talk to him and see if he can kind of get through to him in a way that David Griffin was just unable to, right? And if they can do that, I imagine they would keep him. If you're the Pelicans, you don't last thing you want to happen is to trade Zion. He figures it out and then he leads that team to a championship or something, or he becomes one of the top guys in the league, right? Like you want to make sure that you've exhausted all outlets, all potentials, all possibilities if you're Zion. And Zion has all the potential. Look, the biggest obstacle, the biggest hurdle in the way of Zion is Zion. Right? The guy has top 5 talent potential, like easily. And if you're the Pelicans and you can get him right, then you're golden, right? Like you have a guy that has that potential. You added another guy or two. Maybe you luck into Cooper Flag, right? Zion had some success playing the 3 this past season, so maybe you can work something out there with Cooper at the 4, Zion at the 3. I don't know, right? You kind of, it'd be a good problem to have if Zion can figure it out. But also, Zion never really wanted to be with the Pelicans, right? So the team he always wanted to go to was the Knicks. I don't necessarily see the Knicks trading for him anymore, right? It's got to be a team that is willing to take on the risk of Zion and a team that may not really care either way. And a team that immediately comes to mind for me is the Charlotte Hornets, right? Charlotte is a team that every year they're bottom feeding. Every year they're going for the lottery, right? Zion, I think, would be a necessary risk for them. If it doesn't work out, at least you tried, you look good, right? Also, Zion town, right? Like, so maybe you have some shoe in that regard. And then on top of that, you got Lamelo Ball, right? So you'd be exciting. You'd be fresh, right? Like fans would be pumped. The NBA would start talking about, right? Like it'd be just from a business perspective, like forget the basketball side for a moment. We'll talk about the basketball side here in a moment, but just from a business side of things, Zion makes a world of sense for a team like the Charlotte Hornets, right? Because that's basically what Zion boils down to. Either you're doing it for business and you know you're going to make $1 billion by bringing on Zion, or you're doing it for the basketball reasons and the hope that you believe you can get him right. There's always a team out there that thinks we can do better than they did. There's always a team out there that's like, oh, Zion with us would not be going through this stuff and we can fix him, right? There's always the, hey, I think, I could fix her type thing, right? Like, so there's that team out there. But Charlotte, I think, is one of the few teams that makes sense for both. Right? Because if it doesn't work out, you made $1 billion, you can move on, right? You're not going to be a good team anytime soon anyway, right? Like you're not winning, you're not playing winning basketball right now. You do have some young talent and stuff like that. But I think if you could go bring in Zion immediately, you have this excitement. You have this buzz in Buzz City, right? Like everything changes. You have LaMelo with Zion, right? To me, I think it boils down to cost, right? If you have to trade, you have to sell the farm, then maybe not, right? Because it is a risk. It has to be justifiable. But again, if you could get Zion right, if you could figure out a way to get Zion back on track and to be the Zion and the potential that he had coming out of Duke, I mean, you could, especially in the East, in the Eastern Conference, like there's only like 2-3 teams you really have to worry about, right? Like if Zion can get to that top 5 talent for you, I mean, you might be able to come out of the East and maybe even win a championship, right? I mean, LaMelo Ball and Zion would be it'd be box office without a doubt, right? But if you could figure it out, you're going to have to trade stuff. So you're going to have to, you're going to have to lose some guys, but like, what do they do with like Mark Williams, right? Like, so maybe you keep Mark Williams because you could have something like LaMelo, Brandon Miller. You're probably trading Miles Bridges, right? But you're turning them into Zion essentially. Miles Bridges plus filler, go bring in a 3-and-D guy, Zion and Williams, right? Like, I think that's a pretty good squad, right? I think you could potentially figure some stuff out here. I think you could look at this team and be like, okay, there may be something there with them, right? I think it would ultimately come down to obviously health because LaMelo isn't super healthy. LaMelo hasn't been this model of health, right? But if he can kind of get himself right and he can get healthy, and Zion can get himself right and get him healthy, and now you have these two young studs, because again, Zion's 24 years old. 24. Right? So, I mean, you would have at worst, bare minimum, you would have an electric, young, fun team. Like, people would love to watch. I would watch Charlotte. Right? I mean, I watch basically all basketball, period. But I would be like excited. Like, man, Charlotte game's on. I gotta watch this, right? Like, Lamelo and Zion are playing, right? Like, I think it would just be, again, it'd be dynamic. It'd be so much fun. Even if you don't win anything, right? It'd just be fun to watch. And I think that'd be good, at least give you, again, some form of buzz, some form of energy and excitement and, a breath of fresh air in Charlotte, right? And kind of get them in a spot to where they're like, okay, like, here we are, right? Like, we're here, right? Like, we're putting our stamp. And then, like I said, the financial side of things, the business side of things, you're making $1 billion. Like, you're making an insane amount of money. Having him and LaMelo, you could raise ticket prices. You could, think of all the merch you'd sell and stuff like that. You make the playoffs, you're making money, right? Like, especially in the Eastern Conference, I think you just have a much better chance, right? I think with Zion, if Zion can be, if guys can be healthy, I think you're a playoff team minimum, right? If everyone can be healthy. So now you're at least in the playoffs, and then you kind of just let the dominoes fall where they fall. I mean, the best Zion that I seen was last season in the game to try to get into the play-in, right before the play-in against the Lakers, right? That was the first time that I saw Zion. I mean, we've seen Zion dominate. We've seen Zion go on scoring tears, all that stuff. But that was a Zion that was, give me the basketball, get out of my way, I'm going to go win this game. And he might have, right? Like, Lakers, the only reason that the Lakers, I mean, obviously Zion ended up getting hurt in that game, but the only reason like that game, like the Lakers were comfortable was because they had a pretty decent lead, but they had zero answer for Zion. I mean, every possession down the court, Zion had the basketball and scored. Scored like, I think, it was 14 straight points, something like that, 15 straight points before he ended up getting hurt, right? Like, it was something crazy. Like, that was the Zion was like, there he is. That's the guy, right? Like, where has this been? Right? Like, this Zion is the Zion that's like, could be top 5 in the league, right? But it's got to get right. I do think Charlotte makes a ton of sense, though. I think Charlotte is one of the teams that, if I'm Charlotte, I'm like, let's do it, right? Again, it has to be within reason as far as what you have to give up and trade. But if it makes sense, I think you do it. Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Basketball question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? If you feel what your thoughts, do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle. Do you think Zion on the Charlotte Hornets makes a lot of sense? How do you feel either way? Love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.